Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. Today, I am joined by my fellow co-host Liam and Connor.
Hello
Hello.
there.
So, boys, I got the recent like urge to just you know just live life but die over and over again.
You sound a lot like a good friend of mine. His name is Sisyphus. He has a sort of mentality just like that. Except instead of dying, he pushes a rock up a hill and then it falls over.
Dude, so true. Dude, honestly, there's a game genre just for that.
That's really epic.
What? That's crazy.
I think it's the roguelike genre. Oh my god.
Huh?
Holy,
Yeah, we're gonna be doing
oh
our
my.
we're going to be doing our episode today on roguelikes, what they are, why they are, and some games from the genre. We have 3 games in mind to talk about today that we want to bring up, just to bring them up in the spotlight and, talk about what their unique takes on the roguelike genre. But before that, we should explain what a roguelike is. Liam, I'll let you do that since I know you're very passionate about roguelikes.
Alright. A roguelike is a game where you start off very weak and you go into an area. I don't know, each game is different. But basically, you start off very weak. And as you go through the game, you get items, you get abilities, you get new characters, whatever. And those abilities slowly make you stronger. And usually it's based on sort of a level system where there's like either a floor or a chamber, something like that, where you go into a room, defeat everything in there, go to the next room, do a similar thing, and then there's a lot of the time bosses. You fight bosses, but what makes a roguelike so difficult is if you die or lose, you have to go all the way back to the beginning and you lose all the items and progress that you've made.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That is pretty much it.
It
But essentially,
obviously, well, I was going to say it obviously like changes from game to game. Like some games I know you can keep a few items and stuff like that.
yeah, of course.
But overall, it's basically once you die, you lose all your shit.
That is actually the difference between a roguelike and a roguelite. A roguelike is you start over from the very beginning, nothing. A roguelite has some form of progression. So a good example would be Hades is a roguelite, but a game like Binding of Isaac is a roguelike. That's the difference.
Yeah, well, just for reference today, we're going to be using roguelike and roguelite interchangeably. There's like a really big discrepancy between the two because of that gameplay difference, but we're just going to be talking about it interchangeably. Fight us roguelite / roguelike, fucking tryhards, I don't care.
It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Go roll a rock up a hill, dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. Go get women, how about that?
Yeah.
But I think we should start on our first game. Connor, I will let you start on your first game.
Okay. So the game I decided I want to talk about today it's a pretty small game. I don't think many people have ever heard of it. I think only like 2 people played it. It's this little game called Hades.
I love this game. It's awesome.
Yeah, the only 2 people who played Hades were me and Guy.
Like
That's it.
Yep, I've definitely never played the game. It's really good.
It's really, really good.
We let Liam borrow it within the basement. So what Hades is essentially about is it's a roguelike, but it's based off Greek mythology, which immediately means it's very good. Because Greek mythology is really good. That's the thing.
Dude, that is a thing, you're right.
That is a thing, true. So how the gameplay goes is that you start off within the very bottom pit of Hades, which is the underworld, basically. Yeah, it's just called Hades. I think there's a weird discrepancy within Greek mythology that I'm not going to get into because that's nerd shit that I personally like. But
So true.
But yeah, you start at the base level of the underworld, and the entire game you're trying to get up to the surface. So because you're the protagonist, Zagreus, Hades' son, he really hates his dad, and he's like, "Fuck you, Dad. I'm gonna go to the surface because I don't want to be here anymore." And so the entire game just has you fighting through the different levels of the underworld, and once you get to the end of a different level, you have a boss fight. Spoiler alert, there's only like 3 levels, and well, there's 4 levels, but only like 3 levels have an actual boss fight. There is a 4th boss fight, but it's technically not on the 4th level. It's a weird thing. So what you do, you have a choice from a bunch of different weapons to fight your way out of the underworld. You have a sword, a shield, a spear, a bow and arrow, fists, and then a fucking gun, which is very epic.
We should talk about what weapons we play in the game.
I love the fact that they have a gun in Greek mythology, a gun with ammo.
Yeah, I know Liam really likes games that have guns in them that are based off the roguelike genre.
Yep, that's true. But I was a shield guy. I love the shield.
Yeah, I love the Aegis. It's called the Aegis Shield, isn't it, or something else?
It's called the
I
shield.
shall now
Shield of
Google while you.
Chaos.
Yeah, I'll Google it while you talk.
It was the Shield of Chaos. I think I remember that from an earlier past life.
Yeah, but yeah, there's so many. Going on with like what Connor was saying is that like the game not only is fun in the sake of like, you know, it's a roguelike, you're continuously progressing with your passives, but you are also you have like a variety of weapons to choose from. I'm a shield player as well, just because I love like the upgrades you can have on that thing. But there's so much diversity with the weapons. Don't let like our preferences like sway you and how you want to play the game, because there's so many viable ways to play this game. But as you were saying, Connor.
Okay, so it turns out you're both right. It's Aegis, the Shield of Chaos.
Wow.
So you're both right.
Oh my god, I'm so good.
So going back to that, I love the shield as well, but I'm a shield main, but I'm secondary the fists because I love the fists. Because I just you dash attack, dash back, dash attack in, dash attack out, or dash out, and it's very funny and honestly really good because the enemies can't hit you for shit.
Connor, tell us a little bit about the progression system.
So, the progression system within the like how you get stronger, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like why do you keep on going through the underworld?
Okay, so you can find a bunch of different stuff down there. You can find coins, which you can give to Karen, who is basically the boatsman of the River Styx, but he has a little shop. And you can buy different items from him. You can find like these purple teardrops, which you can use to upgrade like the abilities you have going into your runs back at the hub. You can find these things which you can give to characters to get like items and increase your friendship and blah blah blah. But the main thing within that is good for you are these things called boons, which you get from the Greek gods. Essentially, whenever you start a run, you get an immediate boon, and then you can find different boons throughout the levels. What these boons do is they enhance your abilities within the game, or like different abilities you have. Some improve your dash, some give you like passive effects. The best ones increase either your basic attack or your special attack. So if, for example, Poseidon, we all know Poseidon, his entire deal is knockback. So when you hit an enemy, you knock him back, as the name implies. So the best, I think he's one of the better ones, because that knockback thing is really good whenever you're in a claustrophobic room with a bunch of enemies. And so it really helps with like clearing space and getting some crowd control in. Obviously there's better ones. He's just one of my personal faves. You could also go with Ares because his whole thing is that you can deal damage over time through special effects. So if you hit an enemy, like a little sword thingy will appear above their head, and then after like a second or something, it'll deal bonus damage. It's really good for taking out basic enemies and also stacking up enemies. But I know you guys probably have your favorite god abilities. So what do you think? What's your favorite god?
Ares. I love Ares, but specifically because he can combo with the other character or the other god, Artemis.
I know what skill you're talking about.
He has an ability which basically means when you hit someone, a few seconds later, they get hit again. And Artemis, her ability is she increases your chances of getting a critical attack. And they have a synergy that's in this game.
Yeah.
You have synergies between gods. And the ability, I actually can't remember it off the top of my head. So if someone else will pick it off, I'm going to search it up and then come back.
Yeah, of course. No, I understand what he's talking about though. The boons. What's really cool about them is that when you progress in the game, you actually have the chance to get like kind of a fusion thing. They have the boons they synergize, called duo boons. And what they do is that they essentially like kind of fuse the effects of different gods. And my favorite one is probably either Aphrodite or Demeter. Aphrodite, what she does is that she has an effect called Charm, where she forces the enemies to fight for you for a little bit. And not just that, but she also gives you a massive damage increase along top of that. I used to think she was actually one of the worst gods in the game for boons, but personally, like, as I progressed later into the game, it just became so much damage I was getting from Aphrodite, and she just became one of my favorites.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think really any one of the gods is bad. Well, I guess you could technically say Hermes because he doesn't really increase your attacks or anything. He just makes you faster. But
I mean, that's
all of the ones.
good.
Yeah, it's still incredibly good. But out of all the ones that, increase your attacks and stuff like that, I think the top three, at least my top three, are Artemis, Ares, and Aphrodite. But Demeter. I don't know why I brain froze on her name for a second, but yeah, she is ridiculous. I have won so many runs by using her, like, I don't know what the projectile you shoot is, but her ice beam with the projectile is stupid. It is broken.
No, yeah, I know which one you're talking about. That one's really good.
Yes.
And like I won so many runs by just spamming the shit out of that.
Yeah, but I found out what the rune did. Basically, one of Ares' ability is he crafts like a blade rift, which is like a spinning blade. And if you have Artemis and Ares, the blade tracks and does more damage. And it goes crazy, especially if you're like crowded and you need to get out because it's based on his cast, which is a thing Zagreus has. It's like
another special move.
It's like a projectile that you cast out and then you lose it and then you have to go back and get it. I really like that system, but if you cast it with the duo boom, it shoots out a spinning blade rift that chases people and does a shit ton of damage.
I know which one you're talking about. That one's really fun.
It's the cast, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the cast.
Yeah, I love the cast as how it works, because if you hit an enemy with it, you have to either kill it, or if it's a boss, you have to deal enough damage to knock it out, which is such a cool system. Because it basically means you can't projectile camp. You can't just sit at one part of the stage, spam projectile, and then run. You have to actually fight, and it's such a cool system.
Fucking Samus players.
Samus players, when they play Hades, they can't projectile spam.
So true.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite, just god out of all of them, design, ability, all of that, is definitely Artemis. I fucking love how Artemis looks in Hades. She's fucking amazing, and her abilities are also fucking amazing. It's incredible.
I think that game is great just because you can choose so many different gods. They all have really cool designs. I really like let's see. I really like Aphrodite's design, although it's
I mean, you like her design, don't you?
yeah, I like her design a lot. Chaos's design.
Chaos has a cool design, yeah.
Chaos has a really
Chaos
cool
is
design.
Chaos is one of the
design, even
coolest.
though Poseidon might be my least favorite god to play with, just because his abilities kind of like, depending on what you're using, kind of make it.
It's kind of a make or break kind of god, yeah.
But the game, good.
Very, very good.
I think my least favorite design would honestly have to be like Zeus. He just feels kind of generic for like a Zeus design, but it's still a good design.
No, of course. But yeah, I think it's a good stopping point for Hades. Like I think it's a very, very fun roguelike. It's one of my favorites personally, and it's kind of one that kind of got me into the genre, I would say.
Yeah, same here. Like I didn't play any other rogue. I had never even heard of the genre before I played Hades.
See, I'll let you go.
I just want to give a few closing thoughts. Play Hades. It's ridiculously fun. It's one of the very few roguelikes where it's not super, super, super hard. So it doesn't take you like 50 million years to beat it. And the music is a bop. Those are my closing thoughts.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm really glad we got to talk about Hades a little bit because I fucking love that game. But I think it's about time we talk about another game.
What
I'm going on Twitter.
What?
Guy is talking. That means I'm going on Twitter and not paying attention.
Wow, y'all are so mean to me.
I'll pay attention because I have to.
Yeah, Liam is forced to pay attention.
See, Liam's a good friend.
Yeah.
But one game that I want to talk about that I think puts a very unique take on the roguelike genre is called Darkest Dungeon.
What is Darkest Dungeon, Guy?
I'm so
Deadass thought you were about to say Dark Souls.
Dark Souls is not a roguelike, I can confirm.
Yes. If it was a roguelike, I'd probably kill myself.
I'd kill myself too.
Oh,
That game
yeah,
is just
same.
now. I mean, no death runs are roguelikes technically.
I don't.
Anyone who does
Yeah.
I can confirm. Studies do show that anyone that does a no death run of a Dark Souls game is in fact a masochist.
So true. But what is Darkest Dungeon? Well, Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike that damn it.
You asked and answered your own question.
Shut up.
Okay, Guy, what is Darkest Dungeon?
I'm so glad you asked. Darkest Dungeon is a unique take on the roguelike genre, where instead of typical, action or waiting to go between levels and levels, it's actually a dungeon crawling, turn-based RPG. So, you might be thinking, well, how does that work? Well, I'm glad you asked, because you are given tasks to go throughout these dungeons. Not the darkest dungeon, because that's the hard one. But you're tasked to go out throughout these different ruins and dungeons to collect treasures and collect different types of currencies with different heroes that you use so that you can progress throughout the game. These collectibles that you collect help you prosper, not only in the long term in terms of money and using them for healing items, but also to increase your buildings that'll help cure stats effects of your party members, or maybe increase their attacks, or increase the usefulness of certain moves. But the thing about the party members that you have, they're varied in that you get them randomly. So every time you go through a dungeon, you actually have a random chance to get certain heroes. So some of these heroes that I want to talk about, there's one called the Occultist, which is a cool ranged type of character who typically uses spells and from a long range distance. So you'd usually put him in the back of the party to make his effectiveness better. Or you have one of my personal favorite ones. You have the Crusader. The Crusader is he's a fucking Crusader, that's for sure. He's a melee focused fighter who uses religion as a power. And it's awesome. But
holy shit.
But it's your job as the player to create this combination of heroes that can help you throughout the game, that not only work well together, but also are of good enough level to take on certain areas. And you might be thinking, oh, it's fine if I, just do well and use the same character over and over again to level them up. No, that's bad. Because when you exit dungeons, sure, your HP is restored, but there are two things that are not. Any stats effect that is put on your character, and a little insanity meter that they have. Well, it's called the stress meter, but it essentially works like an insanity meter. So, throughout dungeons, you can randomly gain the stress meter, and when it's full, what happens is that your party members will either gain a negative debuff or something random will happen. So there's one stress debuff that happens when your insanity meter or stress meter is full. What happens is that your party members one of them will get hungry. So randomly he will eat your food portions, which is a way to heal your party members. So you just randomly cannot control whether or not he eats food or not.
I thought you were gonna say he becomes a cannibal.
Cannibals are a thing in the game.
Oh,
He
great.
starts eating people.
That's my type of game. Don't
Yeah.
ask me why.
Penis?
Liam, cannibal confirmed?
You'll never know.
You'll never see it coming.
Yeah, guy, you'll never know. We're in the same room together,
Oh no. Oh no, bro.
and I'm feeling kind of famished.
Oh, he's feeling famished? Oh shit.
Guys, live in concert.
Oh my god. Probably.
That'd be awesome.
That would be pretty awesome. But with Darkest
That's
Dungeon,
content.
that is content right there. But the thing I love about Darkest Dungeon is that you have to be able to manage your heroes correctly for certain missions. Like a lot of the time that I like to do in Darkest Dungeon is like I want to say 70% of the missions I go on are just easy missions that I can get easy loot from and money so I can invest it in different areas. I don't like going on the hard stuff because I want to guarantee like a better win.
Guy doesn't like hard things.
You're right.
Guy is homophobic.
Oh my god, no.
No, me and Guy had. Never mind. We're gonna keep that.
Yeah, we had gay sex.
No, Guy, that was.
Well, Liam, that means he didn't like it. Liam, that means he didn't like it since he doesn't like hard stuff.
Oh my god.
Guy, do you have something to tell me?
No.
All right. Let's go back to Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, but back to Darkest Dungeon. Yeah.
I've never played it, so this is all new information that I've never heard before.
I do recommend the game. It usually goes on Steam for like on sale for like $30, and it's an indie game too, so it's not like it's never going to be full priced. But obviously, like it is really hard. Like I am going to preface that. Like I would not recommend it if it's your first turn-based RPG. If you need a little lesson on turn-based RPGs, just play your little Pokemans on that one. But
Yeah.
it is hard because it requires
Eat crayons.
Eat crayons, yeah. But if
Eat your own boogers. Sniff glue. Put glue on your fingers, then peel it off, and accidentally peel off all your skin, like Lightning McQueen.
like Lightning McQueen says, yeah, exactly.
That's his number one advice to young children: peel off your skin.
Peel off your skin.
Jesus Lord.
But it's really fun because like the game forces you to like get good at managing your heroes correctly, and it punishes you a lot for using the same heroes over and over again. So it rewards you for actually trying out different classes and whatnot, and trying out different builds with your characters. It's a pretty experimental turn-based RPG, but I think it turned out very good in the end because it has like a good progression system. It's like a good combination of like roguelite aspects where you collect resources and rewards to help benefit your buildings, but it also has like a good like roguelike systems where if your heroes die, they're dead. Like you can't do anything about it. Like that's on you. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes you just gotta restart some characters. There's some characters that I've lost that I got pretty high up in levels and I just lost them and there's nothing I can really do about it. But that's just a part of the game, like being hard and being like good to manage. But
You're hard in the game?
I am hard.
Guy's always hard. He has a terrible case of erectile dysfunction.
That's
You
not
mean
what erectile-
that's not what erectile dysfunction is?
It's a newly discovered form of erectile dysfunction.
And that's literally not erectile dysfunction.
That's literally.
What do you think I said? A newly discovered form.
That's the exact opposite of what just
Erectile dysfunction means you cannot get erect.
That is the entire point of erectile.
That's why I said it's a newly discovered form. Were you not listening? It turns out Guy is also deaf. Crazy how he's recording a podcast.
Dysfunction.
Like just the name itself means that you can't get an erection. So why would it be called erectile dysfunction if you could get an erection?
For real.
It'd be called erectile function. Right.
Exactly.
Anyways, let's stop talking about ED and actually talk about
Darkest Dungeon and DD.
DD.
But
I've been noticing there's been a lot of gay conversations with this game. Guy, are you trying to tell us something?
No. One other thing that I want to talk about with this game is its style. It's like a hand-drawn. It's like a mixture of like hand-drawn 2D assets and Victorian goth style, which means that this game also contains a fucking plague doctor, Connor.
Bloodborne?
Oh, I know. Ever since you recommended it to me, I've played a bit of it and I found the Plague Doctor, but I haven't been playing it because I've been trying to 100% my stupid Tears of the Kingdom file.
That is such a bad decision.
That is a great decision.
But
never question decision.
I love the artistic style that the developers went with for Darkest Dungeon because ever since like I've played Bloodborne back in early 2021, I've just fallen in love with like the gothic Victorian style of just like dark, gritty. Hit the gritty. Ooh, right foot creep. Ooh, walking with that heater. But
He's just cringe.
Guy likes goth girls confirmed.
He probably does.
Oh my god. But yeah, it's just I've fallen in love with that style, and that game is just something that I really appreciate. Is that style? It doesn't. It also fits with like the themes of the game. It's just like there's a lot of death. It's like, oh, there's so much shit going on. I mean, hell, they're plague doctors. It's gonna like play into the role of like this is a shitty time period. Are you good?
I'm dying inside.
I can tell. But it does play into that like darkness aspect, and that's something I really appreciate from the game because it enhances it. Considering these are just normal people, normal mercenaries and whatnot that are going up against these fucking monsters and whatnot. Not saying that like the lore is too big or the story is that big. It's more of like a very gameplay heavy aspect of the game. It's a very gameplay heavy game, but that's okay because like the visuals along with it just like enhance it. And that's actually the same with me for Bloodborne. Like I love Bloodborne lore, but I'm going to be playing Bloodborne for the gameplay and not really for the lore. You know what I mean?
So, Liam.
Out of my head.
What's up,
Liam?
What's up, Connor?
So I think you people who are constantly with him should keep a sign, and that sign should say days since Guy has spoken about a Dark Souls game, and I want to see how high that counter can get because there's no shot it gets higher than like 2.
I actually want to try that actually.
To be honest, it'd probably be pretty similar for me. I'd probably need a counter too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you talked about some Souls games as well.
I talk about a lot of Souls games, specifically Remnant.
And Remnant.
Backrooms.
If you don't know what we're talking about, Remnant 2, the new game that released, has a secret level in the post game, which is literally just the back rooms.
We probably shouldn't have said that because some people might have not known that.
It's okay.
It's literally impossible to find it without data mine.
Without data mine, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
It was actually sick too. Anyways, back to game.
In conclusion, Darkest Dungeon is just like it's a fun gothic turn-based take on a roguelike, which it rewards you for the progression that you make, but it also rewards you for very good decision making. I don't recommend it to people who are just trying to have a lax time with a turn-based combat. But if you really want to like challenge yourself and just have like a very fun, satisfying, and rewarding experience, I think you should pick it up. But yeah, that's my part on Darkest Dungeon. We have one person left. Who is it?
Alright, boys, it's time to talk about one of my favorite games of all time and what I consider one of the best roguelikes of all time. It's not Binding of Isaac. We aren't talking about it here because No, I don't think any of us have ever beaten that game.
Nope, I've never played it actually.
I've played it, never beaten it. But we're going to be
Wait,
talking.
what game?
What? Binding
What
of Isaac.
game? Oh, I
Binding-
thought you were talking about the cult indie classic Garden of Banban.
No, that's not a roguelike, unfortunately. They'll probably come out with one though.
Garden of
That's
Banban.
what Garden of Banban Chapter 5 is.
Yeah, the Lost Files. Anyways, I'm talking about Enter the Gungeon, which, if you couldn't tell, was a pun. Because it's actually Enter the Dungeon. What? But
Holy
Enter the
shit.
Gungeon is a bullet hell roguelike about you, a guy. It doesn't matter who you are trying to go into the dungeon or the gungeon in order to kill your past. What that means, you'll find out later. But your goal is to go into the dungeon or gungeon. I keep saying dungeon, but it's actually a gungeon. And
It's just it's with each other.
yeah, no, it's the gungeon. I gotta be correct. And you go in and you have a gun and you shoot people and they can shoot back. But you know what's shooting back at you? Bullets. And you know what they shoot at you? Bullets from a gun, which they come from. So the game is all about guns. They had several DLC packs. The last one was called Armed and Dangerous. It was I actually don't remember the DLC names, but
It's okay.
a lot of the game is puns, and they're great puns. But basically, you go through a level. There are 2 chests in each level, which have 3 types of items. There is a gun, which is very self-explanatory. There are a lot of different guns. I'll talk more about them later. An active item, which is an item that you use, and then usually it will be put on cooldown or destroyed, and it's like a one-time thing where you can use it. Gives you an ability, something, and then it's gone for a while or forever. And then passive items, which help you out constantly. It doesn't matter what you do, the passive item will be there. And each one serves a different purpose. And each time it's random what you get. So you can have a game where you get no passive items, but you have like 10 guns. You can have a game where you only get 1 gun and like 6 passive items. And each passive item serves a different purpose. There's ones that give you little helpers or like little guys that will help shoot. There are ones that make you roll faster. There's a roll in the game, and it's like one of the only. The game has very simple controls. You can shoot, you can run, you can dodge, and you can flip tables to block bullets. And you have a thing called a blank, which basically stops all the bullets. And that's about it. There's not a lot of controls, but the game is fucking difficult. It is a challenge because it is a roguelike, not a roguelite. You do not get any help anytime. You can unlock more guns and new weapons, new items, but they're in the dungeon. You don't start with them. You don't get anything when you start. So you start off with the same little baby gun and little item, but you can use different characters. There's the Marine. He has faster reloads and a bit of a faster roll, and armor, 1 hit of armor. You can get the Huntress. She has a little gerbil that will like find items for you, like health, ammo, a shield, money, sometimes even just items. And she gets a crossbow to start off with, which is pretty cool. You can get the pilot, which has a really crappy gun, but he has a lockpick, so he can open chests even if he doesn't have keys. He has other stuff I don't remember. And there are a lot of characters. There are unlockable characters that you have to get later in the game, like the Bullet, or the Robot, or the Gunslinger, or the Paradox. I think those are the 4. And each one of them has a unique ability. The Bullet has a sword, and if you're at max health, the sword shoots out a beam. What's that from, guy?
Dragon Ball?
The Legend of Zelda.
Dumbass.
I'm kidding.
Thank you, Connor. One of us is smart. It's not guy.
I had to be stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you had Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Kamehameha?
Goku Dragon Ball?
Goku Dragon Ball.
That's his name. Anyways.
Goku Dragon these balls over your mouth.
But each floor is different. The first floor is like a library or like a castle type area, and there's like a bunch of enemies that are castle themed. You've got like mages, you have like knights, and you have a boss at the end. There are 3 bosses on each floor except for floor 5. And each one of these bosses is a random chance of spawning. The first floor has the Gatling Goal, the Twins, the Bullet King. I won't say anything more. The second floor has some funny ones like the Amoconda, the Gorgon, and the Beholder. I won't say what they do because the bosses are easily the most fun part of the game. And then each floor gets progressively harder. But what's great about the game is each time is completely different because the guns in that game are immaculate. You have a gun, which is a bullet that shoots out a gun that shoots out more bullets. And there's 2 versions of that. You have the bullet and the shotgun bullet.
Okay.
And the shotgun bullet is a shotgun shell that shoots out a shotgun that shoots out shotgun shells. You have a gun in the shape of a letter, and you can get synergies. There are synergies in this game too, and it changes what letter gets shot. And when I say letters, I mean like a string of bullets that spell out the letter. It's really cool. There's the Needler from Halo, and you can get or it starts off as like the charge gun from the first Halo, which is like not the best gun, but then you can get a synergy that gives you the Needler, which is a really good gun. There's a sniper rifle, and a synergy for that sniper rifle is if you spin around, you can charge up basically a more powerful shot. And in speedrunning for that game, fun fact, they re-roll until they get the sniper rifle most time because that gun can one-shot bosses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but one of the only things I don't like about the game is there is a damage cap. So you cannot one-shot bosses.
Okay, that's fair though, because it wouldn't be fun if you could just one-shot every single boss. You know what I mean?
But the problem with that is if you do get a good build, they punish you for having a good build.
That's fair.
Like the whole point of I think that since it's a single player game, it wouldn't be unfair because to get those overpowered builds is an insane amount of luck and an insane amount of skill. So I think it should be rewarded. But that's like my only gripe.
I'm sorry. I love this sentence of the sniper is so broken it can one-shot bosses, but there's a damage cap, so you can't one-shot bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
And my brain doesn't work right sometimes. And
I know, it was just funny.
I want to talk about the secrets of the game.
What's those secrets?
The secrets.
Oh my god.
The game.
Game lore.
The game has a lot of secrets. The game starts off, you're like, okay, there are 5 levels. You beat the game after you go to the 5th floor, defeat the final boss there, and it's done. But each character has a different thing, or different area they go to after they defeat the final boss. If you meet certain criteria, which is to get certain items to craft a bullet that can kill the past. There's where it came in. You kill your past, and that each character has a different past they need to kill. And so each character has a different thing, so you want to experiment with the different characters. You don't want to just find one character you like and then play them. You want to play with all of them to get all the stuff, and each time you beat the game, you unlock more and more stuff. There are secret floors on every single floor. On the first floor, I will tell that one because it's really simple to find.
Yeah. There's
a fireplace level, and there's fireplace area in the first floor, and if you put out the fire, you can flip a switch, and then that switch opens up a secret floor to the sewers, and then there's a secret boss there, and then you can get an item in the sewers that will allow you to go to the net floor on the next level, and then there's a very, very secret area in the 3rd level, which I won't spoil because it's one of the best bosses in the game.
Yeah.
I won't say literally anything about him. Very difficult to find. You have to beat one of your pasts in order to unlock it first. The 4th floor has a funny thing called the RNG department, which is funny because it's the one level that is consistent the entire time, and it is called the RNG department. You get the humor? Yes. RNG, randomly generated, and then it's the only floor that's consistent. But
yeah, I get that. It's like it's laid out automatically, though, right? Or not automatically. It's not it's predetermined.
Yeah, it is the same enemies, same floor layout every single time, and It's
The RNG department.
yeah.
That's really funny.
And there's a secret 6th floor. I won't say anything about that because you need to experience the game for yourself. But that is just for the levels. There's more. This game has a lot of content for being like $10 on Steam most of the time. On like Switch, it's like $15, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah, when you initially talked about this, like it was on sale on Steam, so I have it on Steam right now.
It was like $5 on Steam.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it eventually. I just need to get through my backlog, which is like ever expanding, especially with Armored Core 6 coming out recently. Oh my lord!
Yeah, but there are different modes in the game that you can unlock from the NPCs. I haven't even gotten to the NPCs yet. There are a bunch of NPCs in the game that will do different things. One of them wants you to go to a specific room and do a challenge. One of them wants you to go through every single area in the map and like plot out a map so they can fill out their map because they're a cartographer. You have one that has like a little mini game where you like shoot little targets, and if you shoot enough, you get a prize. There's different vendors that give you different items. There's a vampire lady that will give you items if you give her your health. So it's sacrificing health for better items. There's items in the game that are cursed, and it builds up your curse meter. And if you get to 10 curse, you fight the Grim Reaper, or the Grim Reaper follows you. Indestructible, and will basically, I don't think it one-shots you, but it does a lot of damage. So the cursed weapons are usually very strong, but their drawback is they give you curse. Like there's one item called the Elder Blank, which is a reusable blank. Blanks are very good in the game because they delete bullets and stop someone from shooting for like 2 seconds. The Elder Blank regenerates, so you get infinite blanks, but it gives you like a good amount of curse.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of goods and bads for every item. There's no distinctly overpowered item except the sniper rifle, to be fair. The sniper rifle's crazy. That's why speedrunners use it.
Yeah.
But the NPCs will start giving you missions. There's one that will ask you to find him because he's constantly falling in the dungeon and getting locked in prison. And then if you do it enough times, he gives you an item, a really good item. There's a guy in the elevator because the elevator is a bullet that shoots down the floors each time. It's really cool. And you can go to the elevator shaft and he will ask you to bring him items so he can fix it. So you can start teleporting to later and later floors. So you can eventually just teleport to the 5th floor. The drawback is you do not have any items. So most of the time I'd recommend not going for it. But it's a fun thing if you want to challenge because you get like one item.
Yeah.
And you're basically super underpowered for the final area, which is pretty difficult. But if you fix all 5 elevators, boss rush mode. There's a mode that still literally just speeds up the game. You just go faster. Everything's faster. So it's like, that's the entire thing. But it makes the game a lot more difficult because the bullet hell is based on reaction time and quick movements. So you're making the reaction time shorter, the movements quicker. Game's gonna get harder. But my personal favorite, I think Connor, you know what this is, right?
It's Rainbow Rush, right?
Mode. Oh my god! Yay! Rainbow mode is so good. Basically, you spawn into the game. The first level, you get a rainbow chest, which is the highest rarity of chest. There's a brown chest, a blue chest, a green chest, a red chest, a black chest, and a rainbow chest.
A rainbow chest.
That's like the gradient. So you start off with the rainbow chest, which spawns 8 items, usually all really good, but that's the only item you get for the floor. So in total, you get 5 items only. That's all you get, but they're usually really good. So that's the game. Sometimes you can get really good items. One of the best items of the game is called the clone. You get the clone and you go through the entire game. If you die, instead of getting put back to the beginning, you spawn at floor 1 with all your items. So it's a very long run, but you get crazy amount of items. Very strong if you play the game, if you're good at the game, because if you beat a boss without taking damage, you get an item that increases your health by 2.
Interesting.
So it very much rewards good players and punishes the hell out of bad players. So it's very much a go, learn, maybe die, repeat. And that the gameplay loop kind of sounds boring when I put it like that, but the game is so different every single time you play that it's worth it. And then what was I talking about? Rainbow mode.
Rainbow mode, yeah.
Yeah, rainbow mode. Like I said, I mean, that was basically it. You get 5 items, usually really good items, but you don't get a bunch of items. Like, you could have games where you get like 10 items because you just find a bunch of keys, but that one you're guaranteed 5 items, but they're good items. So you don't get like the joke weapons. Like, there's a weapon called the AK-47, which is just a real weapon.
Yeah.
And then there's a weapon called the JK-47, which looks just like the AK, but is much worse. And basically, the end of the gun droops and is like flaccid instead of, and it just shoots much more poorly.
Just like me in bed.
Exactly. There's a gun that's there's an item that's based off of Metal Gear Solid, which is a box item. You equip it, and the enemies can't see you.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
There's a weapon which is a pillow, and you shoot feathers out of the pillow. There's a teapot which shoots scalding hot water. There's a gun, there's a sniper rifle that turns the enemies into chickens and stuff. The guns in this game are crazy. You have so many options on games. There's one called the Alien Blaster, which is literally just a jet engine on a gun, and instead of shooting like bullets, it shoots. It ejects flames and makes you fly. So it's really fun, but really difficult to control. So the game has a lot of depth, a lot of nuance, very different games, very different games, or very different very different experiences each time you play the game. It's very much not you get the same experience every single time if you go for it. There's a fun little mechanic in the game where if you destroy a chest, sometimes you get an item. One of those items is you just get junk. It does nothing. But there's a tiny little chance that you get an item called Junkin, which is a tiny little friend that is made out of trash. And each time you get more junk, he gets stronger and stronger. He gets a little shield, a little sword, a little knight's helm. He turns into an angel at one point and will resurrect you.
Really?
That's the first time I ever beat the game was because of that guy. He resurrected me on floor 5 with full health, and I beat the final boss, and it was so satisfying. And you know what's crazy? After I beat the final boss the first time, I then, over the next 2 days, beat the final boss like 8 more times. It's the experience that allows this game to be as good as it is. Every single time you play, you feel it's a very nice progression where you feel yourself getting better. That's my favorite part about this game. I haven't really said it. The progression on this game is so smooth. You feel like you're discovering new things every single time. Like these secret rooms, if you don't search them up, some people search them up. If you do, it does not matter to me. But you have such a nice sense of progression where you're like, I can do that? And then you find a secret room. This was in the game? Like, I had that happen to me with a secret area that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
I found it completely by accident, and I was like, what the hell is this? I didn't know how to do it, so I came back later with a different item, and I was like, I wonder what's here. And then I found the secret area on my own, and I was like, holy shit, this was in the game the entire time, and I've missed it, and it was such a great experience. But to wrap it all up, the game is extremely funny, in terms of like the gun puns, and the gameplay itself is pretty funny. The game is very simple but very difficult. Bullet hells are fun. I think all of them are. It's one of the best roguelikes I've ever played. The best roguelike I've ever played. I highly recommend it to anyone. It's usually cheap. It's on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, literally everything. There's a mobile game called Exit the Gungeon. you can play too, which
Yeah.
but the game, great, made by Devolver Digital, which great indie game company. They make a lot of great games.
Where would you put this on your favorite games list?
Number 5.
Really?
Yeah, go Red Dead, Twilight Princess, God of War. I don't know whatever that something for 4, and then 5 would be Enter the Gungeon. I think
Yeah.
because I like story games, but the gameplay of Enter the Gungeon is just too good. It's just too fun. It is the best sense of progression I've ever had in a video game.
That's crazy.
Oh, number 4 would be Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's
Anyways,
really fair.
that wraps it up for Enter the Gungeon. Highly recommend it. I cannot stress that enough that it is such a good game. But I will stop fanboying over Enter the Gungeon, sucking its dick. That's it from me.
I was about to say your willy there was getting a little hard. We gotta stop you from.
Yeah, thanks for helping me out there.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh God, but yeah, I think it's a good stopping point for our episode today on roguelikes. So guys, what do we think of the roguelike genre? Just a little closer out. I think it's a very fun genre. I think it's very unique. And
second favorite genre. Number 1, third person adventure games.
Yeah.
So, third person story games. I think that's the best genre for me. Number 2, roguelikes. I love roguelikes.
You're
Connor?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on roguelikes?
Yeah, what's your opinion on roguelikes, man?
I think they're really good. I don't play a lot of them because they're hard as balls. But I will say, ever since Liam recommended me Enter the Gungeon, I have been addicted to it. So.
Oh yeah, the runs on you like I'm gonna do run one run and then get off, and then you go through like 10 runs.
Yeah, that's basically what it's been. I've only ever gone to the 3rd level. I don't even think I've seen a 3rd level boss yet.
Yeah, but that's fair, man. I can't wait to play Enter the Gungeon soon. I really want to play it. It looks fun, and after what Liam said about it, it's intriguing me more, saying how like as like a simple yet complex combat system, and it's like there's a lot of content to go with it. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like being like Sisyphus and just restarting over and over again, smack that like button for us so that the YouTube algorithm can favor us more.
Yes, and don't forget to comment down how far you'd be able to push a rock up a hill, down to the exact measurement.
Exactly.
Make sure it's in the American system and not that dumb metric stuff. Because we hate we only use the American system of measurement around here.
But yeah, guys, also subscribe because we do need it. But
Please
do. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. This has been our episode on roguelikes. Fetch Quest out.
see ya.
Listen.